So good to have all of you here this evening. I'm Katie Short-Thompson, Dean of UC Blue Ash College, and I am delighted to welcome you here this evening. This is the fifth edition of our UC Blue Ash Entrepreneur Speaker Series, and you are in for a treat tonight. This series is designed to provide amazing insights directly from some of the most successful business leaders in our region. It was created and continues to be led by Professor Kent Lutz, one of our business and economics professors, who is also our host for this evening. Kent has a long history in entrepreneurship and in developing family-owned businesses, and he has presented at national conferences on these topics and served as the past director of the UC Gehring Center for Family and Private Business at the University of Cincinnati Uptown campus. First of all, let's welcome Professor Kent Lutz to the stage this evening. For those of you who have class with Kent tomorrow, you can welcome him to class tomorrow like this, right? You're not used to clapping for your professor, and I think Kent likes it. So bring it tomorrow, right? So secondly, we are very proud to have the leader of one of the most successful brands in the food processing industry with us tonight. Tony Maas is the president and CEO of the JTM Food Group, a position that he has held since 1987. Many of you know the JTM name very well, and you may know that the company was started right here in Cincinnati by the Maas family. In fact, it started as a butcher shop in the 1960s, and the family has been extremely successful in growing the company into an international, multi-segmented food processing leader that officially became known as the JTM Food Group in 1980. Tony has also helped lead the amazing growth of the company over the past 3 decades. During his tenure, sales have grown from $5 million in 1987 to $95 million in 2009 to a forecast of over $150 million in 2016. That's phenomenal. Congratulations. Charitable work, however, is also a very important part of his life, of Tony's life, and he is active in his parish and has spent the last 30 years supporting ministries such as Heartbeat International, Priest for Life, and the Sanctity of Life Foundation. We are impressed by his work, and we are delighted to have him here with us this evening. Won't you please join me in welcoming our guest, Tony Maas.
Well, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Is the microphone working? Okay, good. It's really a pleasure for me to be able to sit down with Tony. Tony and I have known each other for a good number of years, and everything I can say about this man is unbelievable. He is probably one of the hardest workers, man of faith, and a person who really is willing to give all his heart into whatever he does. And we're really privileged to have him with us tonight. Tony has a wonderful family, and like any business, they're in family business in particular, and Tony would probably be the first to admit that there's always lots of challenges that family businesses face. But let's start out with, how did your journey all begin, Tony, with the business?
Yeah, no, we all just grew up, my entire family. I came blessed to have 6 siblings. We just grew up really just having a butcher shop. That was my dad's dream. He started off, he had a moving business back in the 50s. Things didn't work out so great to be in the moving business because of different regulations that's happened. But I had my grandfather, who came from Italy, from Sicily actually, worked and had actually a produce stand down at Findlay Market. So we would help him in the mornings get set up for the produce, and then he would go out and work his moving business in the during the daytime and that. But when that kind of shut down, his dream was someday to have a little shop of his own, really kind of selling produce. So the idea was to try to find a partner that did the meat type of business, the butcher shop, and then him have the produce and start a little, back in those days it was called a pony keg. So it was actually called the Horn of Plenty was the name of the of the idea. But as fate would have it, 6 months into their business, his partner that was in the meat business quit, up and left. And that's how my dad got into the meat business. But just basically, there you are, you know. So as us as growing up, I was born in 1960, and obviously I've got 4 older siblings, but all of us, you know, just from the time that we could walk and talk, we worked at the store as a matter of just survival, and that's just kind of the way we did it. So it's what a, you know, as you might look at that as being a tough and a struggle, but really the greatest blessing anybody could ever have to be part of a family-owned and operated business and be able to experience every aspect that it takes, you know. So from setting the meat case to producing the product to cleaning up the place, we all did that. So growing up in the 60s, we did that. In 1970, we decided to take the business a little bit further by just moving our little pony keg up into to Delhi Pike on the west side there, and start the business there. Because my dad really had a good vision that really the competition wasn't necessarily other butcher shops there might be out there, but it really was the advent of what these supermarkets were doing. He saw really that one-stop shop starting to happen. So if you want to be successful in a trade and as a retailer, you should be around where the traffic's going to be. So we were able to get up there, again, having very little, almost nothing, and going through a multitude of different banks to see somebody would lend him the money. Finally found somebody would, and so we did that. We grew that to a couple different stores at Jack Moss Meats in the 70s. But the reality is we all start growing up. There's no way all of us are going to make a living in the back room of a butcher shop. And thus the idea of JTM came to life, of taking some of the products, because a lot of things we did in our little butcher shop, you know, was pretty innovative, you know, where we make homemade items of spaghetti and meatballs or raviolis or beef patties or steak hoagies, you name it, all beef stews, different prepared meals that maybe we just, the same prepared meals we would eat at our home, we just took them, made them ourselves, put them in packages, froze them, and had display cases of frozen foods in our butcher shops. And a lot of people back in those days, oh, frozen, that's no quality, that's no good, and so forth and so on. But it's kind of just what we did. And then we started taking those products and going out to restaurants also, just you know, with little delivery trucks and selling it, and that kind of grew. And that kind of was the idea that, you know, the only way that we can really grow was really kind of take the business more into a food service type of a business. So thus we started JTM in 1980, and 2-3 years over after having a little 2,000 square foot little location,
2,000 square feet.
2,000 square feet. We moved out to Harrison in 1983 with literally, I think, $800,000 in sales, and so that's when we really started JTM. We did the retail thing a bit in the 80s, kind of grew a pretty significant brand in those days, and ramped the business up to the figures that was shared here to the $6, $7, $8 million range. But then we really doubled down in the 90s to go deeper into our food service business, to continue expanding our lines. So we really got big into the kettle cook business, which is, if you think about it as your homes, you think about chili, taco meat, spaghetti sauce, macaroni and cheese, soups, items just like that to kind of get started and making, sell them to restaurants, start selling them to schools, start selling them to the military, and by the end of the 90s we grew to a $30 million business. Then we got to $50 million in 2005 and $100 million in 2010, and then 2015 our goal was to be $150 million, and we did that. So we're going to be in that by the end of this year somewhere close to the $170 million range.
Tony just shared with me when we were out in the hallway that you're now expanding your business and making a significant investment in expansion. And share a little bit about that, what your vision is for that.
Yeah, so, you know, with the great blessings that we've had and a lot of people's hard work and determination, we've been able to grow the business where we've kind of hit our max capacity in our kettle room, which is our specialty, the items that we sell. We are now a national company, we sell every state in the country, and our biggest business is the school food service business and the school lunch program. But we also sell military national restaurant chains like BW3 restaurants, a different thing. They're chili and marinara sauce, items like that. And we had a max capacity in about the $80 million pound range, and we've grown the business to right around 75 million. So we've maxed out. So we've had to make some tough decisions to either continue retrofitting our plant that we've done about every 3 to 5 years. We've totally went to some kind of an expansion of retrofit of some sort, or go with the bigger idea. We've been having the forethought over all the years of continue acquiring different properties right on the same campus as the facility. So we had the green space, so we made that decision to do that, to build a 100,000 square foot manufacturing facility and a 20,000 pallet distribution center. And so that's under construction right now, and hope to have it open sometime next year.
So what's the lesson learned here? I mean, obviously, before you made that major decision to expand and spend a significant amount of dollars to create this new facility, the company was pretty much debt-free.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden you take on a burden,
Yeah.
you know, of additional or some major amount of debt.
Major.
What's the learning that goes along with that?
You know, you guys all know that out there, that you either grow or you die. You got to stay forward thinking. You got to continue in growth mode. And certainly if you are an entrepreneur and you're, it is a family business, any business, it isn't just what you do for work, it's who you are, it is what your life is. So you have those deep thoughts and you think about, a selfish way to buckle down and just get more cash flow and do those things? Or do you look at the real reason why you're there, what your soul really tells you? And what you're really there is for the greater good. You're there for certainly your own family and their life and their ability to succeed you in what your legacy of what you started with my father and to us and to now them, but well beyond them. We look at all of our employees. We got 450 employees. What's the best for them? We got customers that are counting on us, that we are making promises to of what we can do and serve them. And then, we made a decision at the very beginning of our business that, I'm Catholic, and very important to me that we tithe all of our earnings, so we give 10% of our monies to charity. So just looking at them too, what's going to be the best for all the charities that are certainly counting on us to make a difference. So when you kind of digest all that and look at all that, and then you see all the people that have really put you in a good place on a national basis. If you would go and look at us, and you'd be amazed when you go to the National School Lunch Program National Convention. And here we are with Tyson and Cargill and ConAgra and all the biggies, Advanced Pierre and all these big players. And here at JTM we are the leading provider in the school lunch program in the United States of America. So our innovativeness of our sales and marketing are all driving the business forward. And here our plant is fantastic and great, but it's maxed out. Do we give it the credit that you should do and believe in the vision of what you got and go ahead and go all in and bring the business to a level where it can grow over the next 50 plus years?
Maybe you've already defined it, Tony, but what's the excitement about being an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
I mean, you've really sort of defined it already, but is there anything else that you might be able to add to that? The excitement of being an entrepreneur, really having an opportunity to really sort of do your own thing,
Yeah.
and make a difference in the world.
Sure. I mean, it's just who you are. It's got to become who you are. And we've got the greatest blessing living in the United States of America. And we're so blessed that our economic system is capitalism. And it's a doggone shame that the media and the culture drives capitalism into not such a good word, when it's the greatest word in the world. What capitalism means is you can be anything you want to be, right?
That's right.
I wasn't able to go to college. I wasn't able to do a lot of the things growing up. I had to work and do those type of things like that. Didn't have all the forethought of all the expertise on how to do everything, but if you can roll up your sleeves and go to work and believe in yourself and believe in the people that you got around you, you can be anything you want to be. You can. And that's what the free enterprise system gives you, and that's what being an opportunity to be an entrepreneur gives you. And then if you know your greater cause in this world is not just your time here on this earth, because it's really a pilgrimage of your time that you're here. Ultimately, your destination, you hope and pray, is going to be heaven. And you figure out what is the best way you can do it. And I really do believe in being an entrepreneur, that you can touch so many more people's lives. And I got my daughter, Brittany, with me here tonight, and I got 4 other children. I got 5 children and 4 grandchildren, and I love them dearly, and my wife. But the reality is that you're going to spend more time in your life working and being at work than you're going to do anything else you're going to do. I mean, if you want to look back and say what your normal day is, and yes, you do go to sleep, you do wake up, you do then go to work, you do come home, but then you go to sleep. So how much really time are you spending? So the amount of time that you spend with your fellow folks that you work with and your teammates inside your business and your customers and the charities and everything is really how you can affect others. So by being an entrepreneur in that sense of that, it is just a really a great delight.
You know, one of the things I try to convey to all of my students, regardless of what class it is, that you don't necessarily have to be in business to be an entrepreneur. You can have an entrepreneurial mindset, which I like to call, which means that you can be innovative and creative and passionate about what you do and be willing to take a little bit of risk, because being entrepreneurial, even if you work for somebody else, you got to take certain risks, you know. So having that mindset in an organization like JTM, many of your employees, I'm probably sure, do have that entrepreneurial mindset, even though they may not necessarily be direct owners, but they understand what being entrepreneurial really is all about.
Yeah. You don't ever want to play the victim card. I mean, you never want to say, because of this and this and this is my plight in life, or this is my circumstance. Because guess what? You're right. All those things are unfair. All those things are unjust. All those things are not so kind and nice. But that's just the way life is. It's not fair, you know. So the entrepreneurial spirit takes that on and says that I'm going to be that difference maker in that, and I'm going to just embrace those challenges I got, and that in itself takes you out of that victim mindset, puts you into a mindset that I can make a difference. I can be the solution, not the problem, right, of all kind of things that there are all around you. You know, so I mean, I agree with that wholeheartedly. That everybody can have an entrepreneurial spirit. Not everybody, maybe it's not cut out for them to get into actually a business, an entrepreneur. But you see that in your walks of life. You see that with people that you meet. You can say that's the characteristics of that guy. You can see that on a ball teams or whatever. You see the different people that say, you know, doggone it, let's strap it on, let's get to work, and let's win, you know.
Yeah, I love that, because you're absolutely right. You don't have to be, even in business, to be entrepreneurial. You can do anything.
Yeah.
I think teaching is entrepreneurial. I've told my colleagues that teaching is entrepreneurial. You got to be innovative, passionate, creative, and you got to love what you're doing and take some risk.
Yeah.
So what along the way, Tony, were maybe some things that you might do differently if you had to do it over again?
Yeah. You know, the only way I could answer that is that you know, to know nothing is bad, to learn nothing is worse. And that was a little saying growing up in the back of our butcher shop my dad found somewhere, and I've walked by that for the best part of my life and looking at that. So if you are truly an entrepreneur and you truly are a risk taker, you're going to make mistakes. If you're not making mistakes, you ain't doing nothing, okay? You are making mistakes. So when you ask a question like that, you know, you really can't do it. You know, you really got to live in the presence. You got to look at everything that you've done in the past and look what that has done for you and how that has shaped you and made you think the way that you think. Especially the mistakes, especially the failures, especially the bad ideas, right? And really take all that as part of what you are doing and where you're going. And you're in the present, and you got to have goals for what the future are, but what you got is the here and now. And so there's really no reason to say, oh, I wish I could have if I did. Well, you can't. It's already happened.
Should have, yeah.
Right now, let's get busy on what you can do, you know?
Yeah. One of the things that I've always admired about JTM is you're always able to attract really, really high quality people. It's all about the people in an organization.
Amen.
It isn't about just Tony Maas
No.
and Tony's brothers and sisters and kids and so forth. It's about the people you employ.
Yep.
How do you attract, you know, really high quality people to the
Well,
organization?
you know, again, you're with the whole idea that, you know, when having a business and having a career, being in a workplace is going to be the majority of the time that you're going to spend on this earth. So if you can create an environment that people can gain agreement with, that what your vision is their vision too, and they get to be a part of the greater good of what you're doing, that is what attracts people to that. And you bring people to you that make you better. Everyone we bring in, all the key people of JTM have made me a better man in what I'm doing. It made me smarter, made me think things differently. You know, we're just so blessed with that, and I think people appreciate that they know that they really do have an open door, that we truly are a family-owned and operated business, here for a mission and a purpose, for the greater good, that we are striving to be excellence, we're striving for growth. People want to be part of growth, right? Mm-hmm. And they want to feel like what they're doing is making a difference. And just the people and the vibe around it not being stuffy. That we can just, you know, you can work hard and play hard and all the stuff.
Play hard.
Yeah,
play
without
hard,
a doubt, without a doubt. So, you know, I think that has a lot to do with it. And I think, without a doubt, with being a Christian-based company, I mean, that brings a lot of synergy to what we do too.
Where do you think most entrepreneurs go wrong?
I think they're too narrow-minded. You know, I think they look, what I see a lot is, you know, what they can get out of it themselves. Mm-hmm. And they stay narrow-minded on that. I think, really, it's kind of changed over the years. It used to be a lot of entrepreneurs, like my dad. You know, you would have, I want to start a little pony keg, right? And I want to be the corner person on the street to serve the neighborhood and take care of them. That was kind of what you did, and that was awesome and great. Today, it seems like you hear young people and other people talking, or even other people that go into their second career. I want to get in this business. I want to figure out something really great. I want to hit something really cool that's going to really turn a big profit, and then I want to sell it. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's what they think an entrepreneur is, and that's not. You know, I mean, that is totally single-focused. So you go with that mindset. You know, yes, you read the stories of how many succeed, but there's way more stories that do not succeed. You know, so I really do believe if they would go into it the mindset that this is, and really go within a very prayerful discernment that, you know, this is what I'm being called to do. This is what I'm got. This is where we're not going to make any compromises on. This is the direction we're going to go. We're going to try to bring like-minded people in, and this is where we're going to take the place. And this is why I'm here on this earth, you know. And I'm an entrepreneur, and all those great things we've been sharing with each other here, you know. These are the way that we can contribute to society and really, you know, have the best quality of life with the people we are with every day.
Well, with that, let's show our appreciation to Tony, please. Thank you, man.